I wanted to ask you this because you're obviously watching from British Columbia, and I've been watching for the past 6 months, been on the phone daily with the folks at Universal Ostrich Farms in
Oh yeah.
Edgewood, BC, and the beautiful Kootenays. I know the area just north of Kelowna, beautiful area, little east of Vernon.
Yeah.
And of course, the CFI, Canadian Food Inspection Agency, has initially was going to call, I hate using that word, slaughter hundreds of ostriches because they may have had avian influenza H5N1 last December. They clearly developed herd immunity. They clearly are healthy ostriches today. One has died. The herd seems to be diminishing. We're not sure. The CFIA won't say what's happening. They won't count the birds. They won't test the birds. They won't let the owners even feed the birds. So that there's been since September 24th, it's like there's been a cordon placed around that farm by the federal government. And it's been horrifying to watch these birds not being treated, being subject to animal cruelty, being maltreated, not being fed properly, not given water. One ostrich died because the electrolytes weren't supplied, and it's been absolutely horrifying. And as I said, I've been talking to this family every day, and especially the spokeswoman for this farm, Katie Passatney, who has done a hell of a job getting her message out about what's happening here. And it's heartbreaking because on this Thursday, November 6th, the Supreme Court will announce its decision as to whether it will hear the appeal from Universal Ostrich Farms. If they don't decide to hear that appeal, it could be, and I'm not saying definitely, but it could be game over for these ostriches, and the CFIA could begin their completely irrational, unnecessary, and idiotic slaughter of these healthy birds just because they want to, and it's part of their program. So I just want your comments on the situation.
I went up to the ostrich farm about, I guess it was about a month ago now. I did, I got so upset when I saw up there. I just exploded, and Rebel News covered that. But it is terrible what's going on up there. There are over 100 police officers up there, and guarding 400 ostriches. As I said, you'd think there were 400, Paul Bernardos in that pen. They've got so many cops up there. These are ostriches, and they've got tape around it, and they won't let Katie even go into the pen and see her birds. She loves these, like, they know her. They each have a name. Imagine if all your dogs were in there and you weren't even allowed to see your dogs now. It's animal cruelty at a very base level. And then the bigger problem is the incredible government overreach on this. Why won't they test the birds? What's wrong with testing the birds? They won't even let Katie test the birds. It's not expensive. It's not difficult. It's nothing. So what are they hiding here? What is it that they don't want to address? They're so determined to slaughter these birds, and they won't test them first. Apparently the eggs and the valuable information that can be gained from these birds is there. And why not, instead of turning it into a slaughter zone, turn it into an experimental study area? Like, use it. It's 150 kilometers away from any other farms. There are no other birds that are going to get sick from this. These are flightless birds. They're in a corral. They don't go anywhere. And it's so sad when you're up there to see what's going on, and how you can tell that the birds can tell if something's wrong because they're not able to see the people who love them, and that it's a terrible situation. And the government seems to just be determined to do this, to say, we can do this, and we're going to do this no matter what the citizens want or say. And I think it's very hurtful to small farmers who are, I know that Katie, if it was turned out that these birds were really sick, she would participate in the ethical euthanizing of these animals. She's not some crazy person. She's a normal small farmer who cares and would do the right thing. But right now, none of the birds are sick. And I think when I was up there, it was 260 days. They had been free of any virus. And now it's probably been up to more like 270 days. So you have to ask yourself, what is really at play here, and what powers are really at play? I think that's what we'd like to get to the bottom of.
Yeah, 290 days actually, and it's just more absurd as each day goes by. I could I could go on and on about this. It's heartbreaking and it's sad, but it's also just absolutely angering because you know what they're up to. You know this is about government control. They've been this government has been warring with farmers and a war against agriculture for so long. It's tragic.
It is tragic.
But I tell you, Dallas, you're fighting for BC. Thank you. I hope to come home someday. You're fighting for my home province, but you're also fighting for Canada, and you're fighting for freedom. And I take my hat off to you. I applaud what you're doing. Thank you for having the courage to fight. And you remind me a lot of Katie. I tell her that every time I talk to her. Thank you for having the courage to fight, not just for your farm, but for Canadians and for freedom, because that's what she's doing. I think that's what you're doing, Dallas. Thank you so much for continuing the fight, and let's stay in touch.
Okay.
And I want to know what happens with this story just as much as I want to know what happens with the ostrich story. I think it's incredible. But thank you for joining me today. God bless you and God bless your work. We
God
love
bless
what
you,
you're doing.
David. Thank you. And as I say, we've only begun to fight. Yeah.
I like to hear those words.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Bye for now.
Thank you. Okay. Bye-bye.
And that was Dallas Brody. She's the interim leader of the 1BC party. And there is somebody to keep your eyes on because she's going to enact some, and she's going to push for some change. And it's long overdue in that province. Thank God, common sense, freedom is on the rise in British Columbia. Thanks for watching today. We'll be back.